Hey everybody, Pastor Zach here. Thanks so much for spending some time with me today as we gather together, as we share in an opportunity to build community, to be engaged, and to find ways to grow near and far in this community that we are striving to build. You ever been interrupted? I know. Who hasn't been? All of us have been, one way or another. Well, whether it's for a different thought or an understanding, whether it's our own making or someone else's, whether it's, I mean, the list can go on, right? We've all been interrupted. Something has happened. But what happens when we become interrupted? Well, if it's important, we take care of whatever interrupted us and then try to come back, right? Sometimes we forget what we were doing. Sometimes we are unsure of how to restart. Sometimes it's difficult because we were so entrenched in what we were doing. It takes us some time to sort of reconnect, to rework, to re-engage. And that's okay. The important part is coming back to it, finding that opportunity to be regrounded. Because often, if it was something important, we need to go back to it. We need to engage with it. We need to fulfill it and understand it and find a way forward. We need to see the promise that is there in the midst of it all. And I think that's pretty powerful. Sometimes God interrupts us. Sometimes God goes, hello, I need you to focus on this, and pulls us away, pulls us into a new understanding, a new thought, a new opportunity to hear and to engage in promise and in hope and in understanding. Sometimes we get interrupted, whether it's in our prayer time, in our worship time, in our, here's a churchy word, discernment. What does that mean? It means an opportunity to figure out what God wants us to do. How do we do that? What does that look like? Where do we feel God moving and calling, and not just to go into ministry or ordain ministry, but to live out our lives? How do we engage with that? How do we serve our neighbor? How do we care for someone else? How do we find an opportunity to see hope? Sometimes God breaks in and says, hey, pay attention. Sometimes we scratch our head and wonder where God is, and then realize after the fact, God was with us all along. We just weren't able to see. Being interrupted isn't always a bad thing, because sometimes it helps us to refocus on what's important. It challenges us to see what's around us. If we become so focused on what we're doing, sometimes we miss all that is around us. We miss the opportunity to connect with someone that may turn out to be an amazing relationship, friendship, connection point, opportunity to be in the presence of God. Sometimes that's a joy, sometimes that's a challenge, because when we are in God's presence, it may not be easy. It may not be comfortable. And yet, God calls us out. God invites us, God interrupts us, but God also offers us grace and peace. The Bible is full of encounters of God that leave people changed, that interrupt their daily lives, which then proceed to change them. Some ways dramatically, some ways only imperceptible at first. But what we hear and what we experience is an opportunity for us and for everyone to be a little interrupted, to find something new, to see things in a new way, to listen differently. to engage the work that God has honestly, and to find hope in the world around us. We're invited, we're called to interrupt respectfully, to challenge and encourage in God's name, by grace and by love and by truth, finding opportunities to sit with someone, to encourage someone, to challenge someone. We get these great opportunities all the time, and sometimes we just miss them. But we have an opportunity. In the world here and now, we have a hope that as we move forward, as we go through this week, as we continue to build and strengthen this community on site, online, wherever we are, we can interrupt faithfully. We can reach out. We can connect. We can grow. We can learn together. We can see a God that is not far off, but a God that interrupts. A God that invites. A God that welcomes. A God that loves. So I invite you, interrupt. And if you need an interruption, check this out. Share this video with someone. Reach out to someone you haven't talked to in a while. Pray for someone. Have a conversation. If you need someone, reach out. I'll interrupt. We'll have a good discussion. I want to thank you for your time. I want to encourage you, worship with us at some point, on site or even online. We post here on Facebook and to our website. There's lots of opportunities to be in ministry and to serve together, whether you are near or far, and to engage in new ways of seeing the world around us, of interrupting, and of engaging the world with the love of God. Thank you all for spending a few minutes. Hopefully I interrupted you a little bit. I encourage you, share this, engage with one another here. Offer suggestions. What do you want to hear me talk about? I'm still working on the one that someone asked me about. That should be coming up. Probably not a video, but a podcast coming soon. And we'll keep sharing. Take care, everybody. God bless. Have a great day. We'll see you soon.